Hey, so I wanted to answer the question, how much does it cost to start a bookkeeping business? This question gets asked a very, very large amount. So I want to kind of just debunk some myths, make sure you know exactly what to expect, make sure that you are not blindsided by costs that, don't really need to be encouraged. So number one, guys, bookkeeping business expenses. You got to try and keep them as low as possible when you're first getting started. So don't go out and buy an office. I was on an interview yesterday with a gentleman who helps people build like business credit and stuff, and they were saying that they always encourage people to go and get like an office building or something when they're first starting. I'm like, whoa, heck no, dude. Heck no. I was the reason why is because you want to make sure you have clients and any expense that you're really paying for outside of like mentorship or like courses and stuff, you want to make sure that they're being paid for by your clients. So of course, like courses and mentorship, generally you should buy those before you actually go and get started or as soon as possible if you're already started. But you shouldn't expect that to come out of like the business's pocket. You should probably have, if you don't have any money or any clients right now, use your personal expenses. I personally, when I was getting started, how I even got here to being like, 7 years after I got started, still in business, still thriving, still, making a lot of money with my accounting and bookkeeping practice, I had to come and pay a mentor $7,800. It was $7,800 and I only had 2 grand left in cash, right? So I had to use a personal credit card to even float. To be able to do the program. And that's really what kind of changed my life for the better. Now, most people like when they're getting started, like, oh, I can't if I can't afford a program, with money coming out from my business, like I just can't do it. I'm like, okay. Then you look at them like 6 months later, and like they're actually out of business in a lot of cases. I was gonna be nice and just say like, they're kind of just at the same basic place, but a lot of people, like if they're not really willing to invest in like either a business coach or business mentor, like even like a baby course of like $99, they're generally not in the right state of mind to start a business, right? Because think about it like this. Back in the old days, to start a business, you would have to go out and take a loan. You'd have to have a brick and mortar. You'd have to go, in a lot of cases, they would have like a secretary, either a gentleman or lady at the front desk who was either doing calls or taking calls for you, right? Even nowadays, even to open up like an insurance company or a certain franchise, you have to have at least $100,000 in the bank. So if you guys have to pay what, like 5 grand, 7 grand, 10 grand for like a coaching program, that's nothing. If you told that to an entrepreneur and said, "Man, this starting a business is so hard. I had to pay this guy like 7 grand to do this co course," the business owner would be like, "And that's it? You made a steal." I know for me, because I spent like 35 grand my first year in coaching and stuff, right? So like I was buying courses, I was buying mentorship, I was buying like Tony Robbins seminars, I was buying sales tapes, I bought a bunch of like mentorship programs, I bought masterminds, like I just bought everything because I figured, okay, well, I'm saving all this money not having to get a business loan. I'm saving all this money because I don't have to go and buy an office or rent space. And I was just saving all this money. So I was like, okay, so I might as well go and like try and like reinvest into the business because I would have been spending anyway. So I just kept going and kept spending. And like nowadays I hear people and they're like, I tried to spend, I spent like $99 on a course and the course didn't work. I'm like, you only spent $99? Like when I'm talking to that person, I'm trying to be very empathetic and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that you spent that money. It didn't quite work out for you. But in my mind, I'm thinking, it's only it, in my mind, it's hard, right? Because like some people are like, well, it's easy for you to say, Bryce, because you're making a lot of money. But I mean, I was probably making less money than most people were when I first like invested in in the $7,800 one because I didn't have a job at the time. It was like I had just started even thinking about going back to work because it was like I needed to make money. And I had quit my job cold turkey. So I didn't really have any money. I didn't have a new source of income. It was just like I had like 2 grand left. And I told the guy on the phone, I was like, dude, man, like I don't know if I'm gonna like how I'm gonna pay it unless I get like a part-time job. And the guy's like, well, Bryce, why don't you just do what I tell you and then make some money? And I was like, oh, I can do that? That was kind of my response. I was like, wow, you can make money that quickly? Because I had always thought in my head that like, taking a business or starting a business took a long time to make it work. Like you're only gonna make like what 20 grand in your first year. But then like it doesn't even have to be like that. Like a lot of my students are getting to six figures in their first like 7 months of being in business. And it's just like, man, it's ridiculous. And I was telling this lady yesterday, a client Audrey, I was like, man, you don't know how hard it used to be. Because when I was first getting started, it was 7 years ago, and like people weren't even familiar with like the clouds. Whenever you talk about, I do virtual bookkeeping, they're like, "What do you mean virtual bookkeeping?" And then you try and sell like a package or a flat rate of. I was trying to sell for like between 450 and like 500 a month. They'd be like, "What do you mean a package? How many hours? Like what is that hourly?" And I'd be like, "Well, that's like about 50 to $60 per hour." Like what? That's a lot of money. I'd be comfortable paying you like $15 an hour, right? And it was so much harder than what it is today. And plus, like LinkedIn and stuff just wasn't as popular as what it was now. And plus, I didn't know how to use LinkedIn, I didn't know how to use Instagram, I didn't know how to use Facebook. I don't even think I had really a Facebook page or a Facebook account back then because it was so long ago, and I just wasn't like a big social media kind of person. So like I didn't know what I was doing. And if I had tried to keep all the expenses low, like at first, like there was this one lady and she was trying to help me build a website, and she was going to charge me $300 an hour with a minimum of like 7 hours minimum. So it's going to be at least $2,100. Looking back, I'm grateful that I did not invest in like paying that much money for a website. I actually like went and like made one myself, which, that took about like 3 weeks for me to make it. Um, it wasn't a very good website, and it didn't really make any money. So I still don't really like websites for a lot of my students when they're first getting started. So if someone comes to you and they're like, hey, you need to have a website, you need to have an online presence, and like if you don't have a website, no one's going to respect you or take you seriously, I would kind of ignore them. um like don't pay them 7 grand for a website, don't pay 3 grand for a website. You can probably get someone off Fiverr. At least that's what I did recently for a new website that we had a student make. And it cost like $150 because all I did was just have them go and use someone on Fiverr, one of the people I like to work with on Fiverr. That's kind of a cool thing about my program is like since I've been where you're trying to go in a lot of cases, like I just say, hey, use this guy, he's good at this. Or I say, hey, here's this VA, she's really great at this. Or hey, here's an associate, a staff accountant that you should probably be using. Or hey, here's a good sales rep that you can do to, do all the sales and marketing for you, so you can just focus on the work. And so we have all these like resources and all this like network and just community make it really easy for people to go and grow. For example, like one of my students named his name is John. He joined the program like probably like 11 days ago. He already got like 2 clients, and then he got another one last night. And then I told him like, hey, I know you're coming close to capacity, and I know that you're like getting these bigger clients, but don't stop selling. What we're going to immediately do is just outsource it to someone inside of the mentorship program. So he's in the mentorship program. He got hit capacity within like 8 days of working with me. Then I literally went and messaged a bunch of people inside of the program saying, I said, hey, so Anna Jane, do you want to work with this client? Like he needs some subcontracting work. Hey, who's another one I did? I messaged James. And then I messaged Shaquille. So that's only 3 people. I had 3 opportunities to go and help out another student. And that's why like a lot of people ask, like, what's your guarantee? Like, how do I know this is gonna work? It's like, dude, it's almost impossible for you not to work, because when all the other students who are like bigger start hitting capacity and start looking for people to outsource the work to, the first people I always encourage them to do it to are other students inside of the mentorship program. Like Audrey had a bigger client. She had like, I think she has like another client who she's signing on like this week, because she was able to free up more of her time by outsourcing to another student inside the program. So it's like we just have like this cool referral network where people are giving each other work, and they're like all handing each other work off to each other. And dude, it's crazy, and it's really really exciting to kind of see that in action, just see it happening. It's dude, this thing is getting crazy because it's like you get clients and you get students where they're charging their clients like 5 grand, 7 grand, 8 grand a month, right? And then they have so much work that needs to be done. When they outsource to another student, like the other student, oftentimes the student's like just getting started in the program, they automatically get this like bump from the referral or from the subcontract from the bigger student. And it's just like we just all kind of like rise together, right? And it's really fun. It's really exciting. I'm really grateful to be able to do that. Because I know when I got started, like I didn't have that. Like I didn't have a community. I didn't really have anyone I could bounce ideas off of. I didn't really have any friends either. Like people talk about like how much does it cost to start a bookkeeping business, right? The biggest thing that's actually going to help you lower your costs is how many friends you have in life. Like, if you have friends, if you have people actually like you and they also own a business or they know people who own a business, it's so incredibly easy for you to be able to just ask them, hey, can you send my name out to somebody else? Or hey, can I work with you? Or hey, do you need some help? Right. And then generally, if they own a business and the business has any kind of size to it, they're like, yeah, I need some help. Right. And then you can go and get your first like $1,000 a month client, first $2,000 a month client, XYZ, however much like you actually charge, depending on like you. I'm not sitting in front of you, so I don't know what your pricing structure looks like, but it's very, very easy, especially when you can also be around like a community of other people who are, also thriving and who are also really growing and going really big as well. Because then you start saying, well, if they can go and get a 5 grand a month client, why can't I? If he can go get a 9 grand a month client, why can't I? Then you start being really excited and you start just moving forward really, really quickly. And that's basically how you should be thinking about expenses, guys. Keep your expenses really, really low in the beginning. Have most of your clients pay for like your office supplies or your software expenses, and just wait until you start getting clients to go like pick on like, technology or software or cool technology apps. Just have them pay for it. The only things you should be paying for out of pocket or even on a personal credit card would be education. So like mentorships, courses, coaching, masterminds, anything that's like on the business education side. So with that note, hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you want some help going and growing your business, maybe you've been trying, maybe you're spinning your wheels and you just want some help being able to go and grow, go ahead and click on the link inside the description below to book a call with me to see if I can help you out. Okay, on that call, I'm going to look at your business. I'm going to be very, very objective. I'm going to be very honest with you. If I like what I see, I'm going to be like, hey, cool, man, you're doing this good. You're doing that good. Here's how I kind of move it forward. If I don't, and I see that you're kind of running into a trap that you can't see because you're just not experienced enough, I'm going to tell you right then and there, like, dude, like what you're doing just isn't going to really get you to your goal. Let's do this instead. We're going to design a path and a game plan for you to be able to know what you need to do. And then if it makes sense, we can work together long term in order to make sure you start making more money and you start winning. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and click on the link inside of the description below to book a call with me to see if I can help. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you in the next time I see you.